Welcome to yet another live session of Narayana IAS Academy. So this is Sureka Bhaskar here to take you through the daily news analysis, for which we've of course picked up very important topics from both the Hindu as well as the Indian Express that become extremely important and relevant for the UPSC CSE examination. So without much delay, let's actually kickstart our discussion with our daily ritual, that is the motivation. So the motivation of the day behind me, it actually says, this is your reminder that you can handle whatever this day throws at you. So this is a reminder to all of us that whatsoever or how many ever challenges or the number of stress or even it can be the successes that actually come our way, we should handle that with courage. So we need to have confidence to believe in ourselves and also believe and be very affirmative that we have the resilience to actually tackle whatever comes our way. So with that, let us actually start with our daily discussion. And as you know, for us, to prepare you guys better for the upcoming examination and for the future examinations 26 as well as 27, we at Narayana have actually brought forward a 1 year prelims cum mains integrated course for the 2026 examination and also a 2 year prelims cum mains integrated course for the 2027 examination. Okay, so the total duration or the total number of hours of instruction for this particular program will be around 1000 plus hours, where 800 hours will be dedicated exclusively for your general studies like polity, economy, geography, history, etc. and 200 hours exclusively for your CSAT. Okay, sorry, it is for your current affairs. Okay, so 800 plus hours will be for your GS and CSAT courses and 200 plus hours for your current affairs, and this course will holistically cover all the three stages of the examination, that is your prelims, the mains as well as the interview. Okay, moving forward, apart from the materials that we actually provide you, like the material or the curated material for your general studies, we also will provide you with a strategic micro schedule, which is nothing but it is a detailed daily study plan. Okay, that will actually make sure that you're not lost in the vast syllabus of the examination. And also all this will actually will be delivered to you by our expert faculty who have gone till the interview stage of the examination. And also, in order to give you regular and personalized feedback, we have a mentorship as well as our testing series or the test series, where you can actually perform and see your performances after we give you feedback, so that you can introspect and perform better in the upcoming tests. Okay, so this is what is all about, that we will provide you all this in order to ease your preparation for the examination. Now, moving forward, let us actually see the list of topics that we have picked up for today's discussion. So, the first article for the day has been picked up from page number 10 of the Hindu, that is CDS, that is Chief of Defense Staff says Military Space Doctrine to be out there in 3 months. Okay, so there has been a defense, or you can say, yeah, a defense symposium, okay, that had actually happened recently in Delhi, where the Chief of Defense Staff actually had said that India, or the Indian government, will come up with a military space doctrine as well as a national space plan. Okay, so here we will be discussing about the concept of militarization of space. Okay, so we will talk about what is this concept of militarization of space. Is this required or not with the advent of technology? How far has India has actually developed the technology, etc., in order to reach the militarization of space? What are the global frameworks? All that we'll be discussing. We'll also see the positive parameters, that is the significance of this, and the negative parameters, that is we'll be discussing about the implications of this particular militarization of space, and also we will understand how important is the military space doctrine for a country like India. Okay, so this is the first article. Now moving forward, so of course this is actually going to be your main topic. The second article has also been picked up from the Hindu, that is Kannadippaya Gets GI Tag. Okay, Kannadippaya, this actually means, Kannadi means mirror and pai actually means mat. So this particular handcrafted product by the tribal people has actually been awarded the GI tag, that is nothing but the geographical indication tag recently. Okay, so this has put the tribal craft on the global map. So here this will be of prelims discussion, and here we'll be discussing about this particular product that has been given the GI tag, and also trying to understand what do you mean by the GI tag, that is the geographical indication tag, and what does that mean for India, what are the characteristics or the eligibility criteria for a particular product, and under which legal framework a particular product is awarded the GI tag. Also, we will be discussing about the IPR, and all this becomes very, very important for your examination, because already there have been questions on the Banarasi saris, the Tirupati Laddu, etc. Now, moving forward, the third article has been picked up from page number 7 of the Hindu again, shaping a future ready workforce. Okay, so in order to meet the demands of the changing global order or the global economy, how far has India actually transformed or transcended in skilling its youth, or how efficiently it's using its demographic dividend, is what is discussed in this article through two rankings. That is, one is the World Economic Forum ranking on the future of jobs report, which has actually made certain observations where India stands and what is the what has been the performances of the jobs of late with the changing geopolitics and everything. Okay, that is one. And next one is the QS report that also talks about the employment and the skilling of labor. So this is also going to be your prelims article. Now moving forward, the final article for the day has been picked up from page number 17 of the Indian Express, where the 1997 Ethics Code, which mentioned the idea of Supreme Court judges declaring assets. Okay, so all of us know that recently Supreme Court has actually come up with a move stating that all the judges of the Supreme Court, including the Chief Justice of India, will have to declare their assets in order to increase the transparency and the accountability of the judges. Okay, and also to increase this virtue of public trust. So where did this idea of declaring the assets had actually come? So it originated in the 1997 Ethics Code. So we will be discussing about that till the latest judgment of the Supreme Court in 2018, which actually said that disclosure also forms a part of the RTI. Okay, so we can, that is, the citizens can actually see the disclosure of assets by the judges. Okay, so we'll be discussing all this. So post our discussion of all the 4 articles, we will be solving a mains approach question with the answers, and then we will be taking up the we will be taking up the practice questions that were associated with yesterday's topics, and finally we will actually give you the questions, that is prelims practice questions, depending on all these topics that will be taken up tomorrow. Okay, so now let's quickly move forward to our first topic. Okay, so the first topic is CDS says Military Space Doctrine to be out there in 3 months. So in this article, as I already told you, we will be discussing the concept of militarization of space. Next one is weaponization of space, and next one, treaties like the Outer Space Treaty and the peaceful use of space treaty. All that we will be discussing. So this is very, very important under GS paper 3. Challenges to internal security through communication networks and various security forces and agencies and their mandate. Okay, so this is very, very important. Now moving forward, how space technology becomes very important is that in the year 2019 there has been a mains question where what is India's plan to have its own space station and how it will benefit our space program. There will be a definite question on space every year. Okay, so space as an entire topic is very, very important. The significant strides that India has actually made with respect to Chandrayaan, as well as we have our Navik constellation satellites, all that becomes very important. And now what is more important is this particular topic of militarization of space. Okay, so we will be discussing that in detail along with the implications it actually has. So why this particular topic is in the news? Because the Chief of Defence Staff at the Indian Defence Space Symposium 2025, he said that That is, this symposium has been held in New Delhi, and he actually said that India will be coming up with a military space doctrine in 3 more months along a national military space strategy or a policy, national military space policy. Okay, so why is this military space doctrine very important? Let us actually see. This is very important. First of all, it is actually brought about by, that is, this military space doctrine will be designed and formulated by DSA, that is nothing but the Defense Space Agency. Okay, so this is the Defense Space Agency that actually comes up with this one, and the objectives is nothing but it is to bring an overall framework, okay, for where India actually says, how India actually sees in using space in a very safe manner for its military operations also. So this is what it is. Okay, so we will see, this is actually aimed at enhancing India's resilience against space based threats. Okay, there are a lot of threats. Okay, for example, there can be anti satellites systems which are called as the ASAT. Okay, these anti-satellite systems, using kinetic energy, they can fly and destruct the communication satellites that India can have. Okay, so China can deploy their ASATs in order to attack our GSATs, which is a primary communication satellite for India. So this is why India actually feels that it has to have a resilient, a space technology domain or a resilient space framework. Okay, so this is what, in order to face the space based threats. The next objective is, it actually aims at integrating the capabilities into national defense strategies. Okay, how do we use all these communication that we get from the space technologies, that is the satellites, especially the GSAT, the NAVIC, etc., in order to enhance our military capabilities, is what this aims at. And the next one is promoting the development of a robust indigenous space infrastructure. Okay, so now let us actually move forward and understand what is militarization of space. See, there are two concepts that you need to understand. One is militarization of space, next one is weaponization of space. So both are, if this is militarization of space, this will be weaponization of space. So weaponization of space is nothing but it is a subset of militarization of space, where militarization of space is nothing but you make use of space for military purposes. Okay, you can either deploy weapons over there, or you can deploy the surveillance systems in space, and also communication networks like satellites, etc. So this is what is called militarization of space, whereas weaponization of space is nothing but directly placing the weapon itself in the orbit. That is called as weaponization of space, and it is far more dangerous. So militarization, it refers to the use of outer space for military purposes. Either you are deploying the weapons over there, or surveillance systems, or communication networks, etc. So this is what is militarization of space, and this is done why, in order to enhance these space threats that we are actually facing and to enhance the national security. So this is what it is. And historically, space has also always been envisioned as a domain for peaceful exploration. Okay, that is actually mentioned under the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. However, with the advent of technology, and also we see a lot of geopolitical tensions, what is happening? The use of space as a domain for military operations is actually being contested, is what this particular article says. Okay, now let us move forward and understand the difference between militarization as well as weaponization. So this is nothing but, I will tell you, in simple terms, militarization will actually help the armies. Okay, so it will provide technology to the armies in order to fight in the conventional battleground, okay, on the ground itself. Okay, whereas the weaponization actually focuses on treating the space as the battleground itself. The space itself is used as a battleground. So that is the difference, and therefore this actually enhances space as the fourth frontier of war. Fourth frontier of war. Okay, that is what is mentioned here. What are the other three frontiers of war? One is actually land, next one is your sea, and next is your Air Force, okay, air. And fourth can be through weaponization, it can be space can be your domain. So this is what is the difference between militarization and weaponization. Now moving forward, let us see what drives a country in order to militarize the space. First one, of course, is technological advancements. With the advent of new kind of technology, we have a lot of missile defense systems. We've seen, right, the cruise missiles, and then we have the ballistic missiles and the subsonic missiles. All these have actually come, as well as countries are developing the ASAT capabilities. ASAT is nothing but the anti-satellite capabilities, which is nothing but, I told you, these are the systems that actually use the kinetic energy that can go and attack the communication networks or the other weapons which are actually present in the space. Okay, so for example, you can see US tested its first ASAT weapon in 1985, and also China deployed this ASAT in 2007 in order to destroy one particular or a defunctional satellite. Okay, it did not function, so they wanted to destroy it. So this ASAT was actually used. Okay, next one. Apart from the technological advancement, what can drive you to militarize space? It can be the geopolitical rivalries. You can see the major powers like the US, Russia and China, they are actually competing with each other. They are locked up in a race to compete and to prove who is mightier than the other person. So what they are actually doing is they are viewing space as a critical domain for national security. That is the purpose why US established the Space Force in 2019. Also, the next reason can be dependence on space assets. Okay, so modern militaries, we actually focus on the satellites for navigation. For example, we have the GPS, right? GPS is by the United States. We depend on GPS for what? A lot of reconnaissance, that is collecting information about where the enemy is actually stationed, in order to see that, as well as for the communication purposes we are using. Next one, there are also emerging threats. Okay, that is why we also want to be superior in terms of this particular militarization. So the proliferation of ASAT weapons and the cyber capabilities, using this you can actually hack the other enemies what? Satellites. Okay, so this has actually increased the need for us to militarize the space also. That is why during the Kuwait war, okay, what happened was that the United States actually tweaked its GPS. So what happened? So satellites, basically when you launch a weapon or something, they use the GPS in order to strike the enemies, right? So all the bombs and other things that were actually sent into space, by using the GPS, what happened? They moved from the original trajectory because of this particular tweaking, and it actually reached the wrong targets. Okay, so this is what it is. Next one. Moving forward, what are the global developments in the space militarization? I already told you, right? There are anti-satellite tests that are actually being conducted, which have already been done by the Russia, US, China, and India has also done it. And that is what is your Mission Shakti. Mission Shakti of 2019. Okay, so this is what India has done. And also, see, Mission Shakti 2019. And also there are dedicated space military forces. We saw US actually established one in 2019, and also Russia has the Russian Air Space Forces. And then you have the People Liberation, that is the PLA Strategic Support Force, that was established in 2015 by China. And then you also have the US Space Force that was established in 2019 by the United States. And finally, France has actually established in 2020 the French Air and the Space Force. Apart from the dedicated military forces and the ASAT, we also have advancements in the space technology. Whereas with respect to hypersonic missiles, we have countries like US, China, Russia actually developing them. And then we have the directed energy weapons, that is ongoing research is being taking place over there. And also there are miniaturized satellite constellations. Okay, small satellite constellations, that is a group of satellites which will actually provide you the essential information. Okay, so here it is used for communication, navigation, the earth observation, as well as the potential military applications. So this is what is your global development. Now moving forward, let us see what is the implications. Implications can be both positive as well as negative. If India is actually equipped with the necessary ASAT, that is your anti-satellite systems, this actually gives us an edge over the other countries, because only 3 countries so far, like US, Russia and China, have these ASAT systems, and fourth, that is India, becomes the fourth country to have it. Okay, so this actually makes us believe that we are ready for any kind of threat that is actually going to be posed by the other countries. The next implication it will have is the economic implication. So this is a negative connotation. Okay, so if something goes wrong in your space based in your space based communication, for example, if something goes wrong in the information that the navic actually gives you, because it has been tweaked by, let's say, the ASAT, which is actually sent by China. So what happens? The space-based critical infrastructure, such as the banking, etc., where the servers and everything and the data or the database is actually dependent only on the internet or the communications that is actually been sent, then what happens? It's going to disrupt the economy on a large scale. Next one, there is going to be arms race in space. Okay, despite the arms and the other things which are going on in air, land, as well as in the water, they are going to use space also as the fourth domain, which is actually not a good sign. Next one, new domains of conflict. Of course, space is going to become an arena of your direct military conflict, which is a wrong sign. Next one, impact on the civilian space activities. Okay, so when we are too much focused on the military priorities for us, then what happens? This is actually going to counter react, or this is actually going to interfere with the scientific as well as other commercial space activities. Okay, which is actually sent for the normal communication as well as networking. Next one, the space debris and the safety risks. For example, there was a test that was actually conducted by the Chinese in 2007. Okay, so that itself actually had resulted in the formation, or you can say release, of 3000 debris fragments. So proliferation of space debris is actually a risk to both the manned as well as the unmanned. It will actually attack, or what you say, if it is actually there, it will interfere with the smoother movement of the the vehicle. Okay, next one, technological advancements. So it is a good, on a positive connotation, this can actually drive. So these were all negative. Okay, and this is actually positive. It can drive the technological advancements in the space technology. Okay, and which may also have the civilian applications. Next one, what are some of the global frameworks and India's framework with respect to the same, that is militarization of space? We have the Outer Space Treaty, which again has a limitation. This only prohibits what? Weapons of mass destruction, that is the WMD, and it actually does not take into consideration the non-weapons of mass destruction weapons. Do you understand? The next one, Treaty on Open Skies. This was signed in 1992, and this actually allowed, that is, if you have some unarmed overflight, okay, if you have an unarmed vehicle that can actually overfly, just to boost your confidence, and it is applicable to space-based surveillance activities. The next one is prevention of arms race in outer space, that is the Paros Treaty, and this was proposed under the United Nations, and this bans the space weapons, but it has actually been stalled because it did not get the approval, or the other major powers did not agree to this particular Paros. Okay, that is nothing but prevention of arms in the outer space. Now moving forward, we have other initiatives and mechanisms also. So if you see, the UN Committee on Peaceful Use of Outer Space was there. So this is the corpus. Okay, so this is a UN body, and it also acts as a forum for the international cooperation on space matters. That is, the name itself suggests, it actually promotes only peaceful use of the outer space. Next one, UN Open-Ended Working Group, that is OEGW, on reduction of space threats. Okay, so this actually came into existence in 2019, and here it actually aims to discuss the norms, the rules and the principles of the responsible behavior in space. And next one, the ongoing discussions actually include the Hague Code of Conduct of Outer Space Activities. This is actually a voluntary code, and it specifically encourages responsible and peaceful behavior of space. Okay, so these are some of the global frameworks. Now let us see India's measures. I already told you the anti-satellite missile, that is the ASAT, India actually has, that is the mission Shakti. Okay, so this mission Shakti has the ability to intercept and destroy a satellite in the low Earth orbit using a kinetic kill vehicle. Very, very important. And India is the fourth nation to achieve this. And who are the other nations? They actually include US, Russia, as well as China. Okay, and also the next one, we have the Defense Space Agency. Okay, so this is nothing but it is the tri-service agency, an integrated tri-service agency of India's armed forces, that is the army and the navy and the military. Okay, so this is what it is, and this was established in 2019, and here it actually helps in operating India's space warfare and satellite intelligence assets, and this it's actually headquartered in Bengaluru. Next one, you also have the Defense Space Research Agency, that is the DSRA, that we will be seeing, and also we have NAVIC, that is a constellation which actually covers an area of around 1500 of the Indian subcontinent and even beyond. And finally, we have this in SpaceX, which we'll actually see in the next slide. That is nothing but it is a simulated space warfare exercise. Let us actually see. So I told you the DSRA, this was established by the Cabinet Committee on Security, which was chaired by the Prime Minister in 2019. Next one, this helps to create the warfare weapon systems and technologies. Okay. The next one is NAVIC. We know that it is a group of 7 satellites, and it actually gives a precise navigation for the military use across India and also beyond 1500 kilometers. Now, let's move forward. The next is India's SpaceX. So India's first simulated, okay, not in reality, it is a simulated space warfare exercise. It's a tabletop warfare game that was actually held in July 2019. This actually had people from the scientific as well as the military community participating in this. Okay, so these are few of the initiatives that India and the global framework or the global initiatives in order to tackle the safer as well as the peaceful use of outer space. Okay, now coming forward, what should be the way forward? In order to tackle all these implications, that is specifically the negative ones, we need to come up with a proper framework, okay, a holistic framework. That is why we actually had the what to say, military, 1 minute, policy. Okay, so here there has to be a legal framework. So whatever are the existing laws, you need to revisit and redefine the existing space laws. Next one, promote the peaceful use through cooperation. Of course, you have to leverage different international and regional groupings, like you have the BRICS, the G20, where you have to bring in consensus for the peaceful use and the non-militarization of space. Next one, national policy on space security has to be there. That is what the chief of defense staff has also said, that we will be coming up with a national space security strategy. Okay, so in order to balance the peaceful use of space as well as the strategic needs of the military. Next one, private sector regulation. Okay, so we actually have a lot of private sectors coming in, right? So there have to be proper or appropriate regulatory norms. Okay, so you have the private sectors like SpaceX, etc. So next one is enhancing the space situational awareness. So here there has to be awareness that actually have to be created, where the nations have to provide accurate information to the international organizations. Okay, so this is the way forward. And so this any kind of topic, I've actually bring up a conclusion as well, so that in case if you are asking or if you are asked to write an answer, you need to actually have a suitable one. Okay, so here, conclusion, what will we write? The militarization of space is not something that is going to happen in the future. It is a current reality, right? So it is not a future possibility, but it is a present reality. So while the space actually holds immense potential, or what to say, immense promise to help us in the scientific advancements as well as the economic growth of the country, its increasing use for military purposes, however, threatens the peace, the security, and the sustainability of the world. So, a balanced rule-based global governance framework. These words are very, very important. So, there has to be a rule, okay, and on based on this, what happens, there has to be governance framework. So this is what they are saying. So rules based governance framework is there. That is the need of the hour in order to ensure that space remains a what to say, and a domain of cooperation and not of conflict. Okay, so this is what is a big topic that we have covered. Very, very important topic, militarization of space. Okay, so we've dealt with what is militarization of space, how it differs with the concept of weaponization of space, and what are the implications that the militarization of space actually causes, and what are the regulations and the legal frameworks that are across the globe as well as India. This is what we saw. And finally, in order to counter the negative implications, what are all the measures that have to be taken? That includes the framework in order to come up with a national policy of space, and finally is your conclusion. So this is your bigger topic of mains discussion, that is over. Now let us actually move to the next topic, which is very important. The Kannadippaya Gets GI Tag. Okay, so this has anchored the tribal craft to be on the global map. So we'll be discussing about this particular product, that is the Kannadi pie, which is basically, that is mirror mat. It actually gives a reflection such as it is it is very reflective as a mirror. So that is why it is called as Kannadi, which means mirror in Malayalam, and then it is actually pi means mat, paya. Okay, so geographical indications is what we will discuss, and this is important for both your prelims as well as the mains examination, specifically under GS paper 3, that is awareness in the fields relating to intellectual property rights, that is IPR. Now, let us move forward quickly and see the previous year question. In 2021, a question on GI tag was asked, that is different products were actually given and asked, select the correct answer using the following. So, Banaras brocades as well as the saris were asked, Tirupati laddu as well as Rajasthani dal batti churma. All this was asked. Okay. Now, let's move forward and see Kannadippaya, a traditional tribal handicraft from Kerala, has been awarded the GI tag. Okay, GI tag is nothing but it is a, it's like a what to say, a sign or a recognition that is actually given to a product, and that is mostly based on the geographical origin of that particular product. Okay, so we will see what you mean by the geographical tag after discussing about this particular product, Kannadippaya. So this means mirror mat, that is it's reflecting weaving pattern. Okay, it is very closely knit like this, and it is actually called, it looks like a mirror mat because of the weaving pattern, and this actually has soft inner layers of reed bamboo, and this reed bamboo is called as what, Tenostachium vitae. Okay, and other kind of native bamboo species. And if you see, it has thermal properties. How the thermal properties, it actually keeps you warm during the winters, and it actually keeps you cold during the summers. Okay, so this is a very, very interesting property, and this was something that was historically given to the kings as a mark of respect by the tribal people. And then the tribal people who actually craft these mats who are involved are the Urali, the Mannan, the Muttuva, the Malayan, the Kadar, the Ulladan, then the Malayarayan, the Hill Pulaya communities. Very, very important. Okay, these tribes and where they belong to are very important for your examination, and they actually inhabit which are the cities, the Idukki, Thrissur, Ernakulam as well as the Palakkad of Kerala. Okay, so this is about the product, and if you see here, this is the beautiful image of the product. Look at how, what is the sheen this particular mat is actually having, and how closely it is knit. No, so that is why it actually has the GI tag. Now let's move forward and see what are all the recently GI tagged products in India. Very important for prelims. Okay, so recently in 2025 you had the Warangal Chapata chili. Chapata, I think it means in Telugu spicy, right? So this is the chili, It is a mild, spicy, deep flavored chili, and this has vibrant red hue, and it actually has a tomato like appearance. Okay, so this was given the GI tag. It is from Warangal and it is from the state of Telangana. Next one, the Assam Bihu Dole. Okay, so this is nothing but it is a percussion instrument that is central to the Bihu festivities and performances. So here you need to know what is Bihu also. Okay, so that is how it becomes important. So it has been declared in 2024. Similarly, there is something called the Banaras Thandai. This is nothing but it is a heritage spiced drink which is deeply rooted in the culture of Varanasi. That was also given the GI tag of in 2024. Then we have the Kasti coriander of Maharashtra. Here it is renowned for its strong aroma and the unique flavor profile given in 2023. Others actually include the Koraput rice as well as the Uttarakhand red rice. Okay, so this is actually a nutritious high altitude rice variety cherished for the the aroma it actually has and the health benefits. And the other rice, Koraput Kala Jeera rice, this is a fragrant black rice often called as the prince of rice. Very, very important. Okay, for its rich taste. So these are some of the products that have been given GI tags in the recent past. Now, let us understand what do you mean by GI tag. This is nothing but a sign that identifies a product's geographical region. Okay, so when I tell you Kannadippaya, so it actually speaks more about the region of origin, which is nothing but Kerala. Okay, so that is why it identifies a product. Geographical indication identifies a product based on its geographical origin. Okay, that is what it is. And here the product must have unique qualities that actually pertain to that particular origin, that is geographical origin. And what does the World Trade Organization WTO says? It is not geographical indication is a sign or a symbol that is used on products that originate from a particular location. Next one, they have qualities, they have reputations or characteristics that is linked to that particular geographical origin. So examples include the silk saris of Kanchipuram in Tamil Nadu. Then you have the oranges originating from Nagpur, and then we have the bhujia, that is Bikaner bhujia, and then we have the peta of Agra. So international recognition is the GI tag has recognition under the intellectual property rights, that is the IPRs, under two conventions or agreements. The first one is Article 1 and 10 of the Paris Convention. Again, important to know about the Paris Convention. And then Article 22 to 24 of the TRIPS. Okay, so this is TRIPS. That is nothing but trade related aspects of intellectual property rights. So this is called as TRIPS. Okay, this is an agreement under WTO, and once a question was actually asked. Okay, so they asked this geographical indication act of 2009 that was actually passed in India was there to act, was established in order to uh, what to say, satisfy the obligations to which of the following organizations. So this was the question that was asked. Okay, now moving forward, let us see what is the difference between a GI and a trademark. A trademark is nothing but it distinguishes the goods that is produced by one enterprise from another enterprise, that is trademark. However, geographical indication has special characteristics originating. Okay, that is, it has a definite geographical territory, but this is not like that. Okay, so this is what it is. Now moving forward, the mechanism. Okay, so I'm really sorry I said the GI Act of 2009, right? I'm sorry, it is 1999. So the GI tag is actually regulated under the Geographical Indications of Goods Registrations and Protection Act of 1999, and this actually came into existence or enacted in order to comply with the obligations of the World Trade Organization. That is why you have the TRIPS, okay, that you know. Next one, and here the Ministry of Commerce and Industry maintains the register of GI tags, and the GI registration is given to an area, not a trader. Okay, so it's given to an area and not a trader. However, once a product gets the registration, then the traders who are actually dealing with that particular product can apply for selling this particular product with the GI logo. Okay, so very, very important. Next, a GI tag valid for very important, 10 years, okay, and must be renewed after that. And the first GI tag was actually given to the tea of Darjeeling, okay, 2004, again very important. And as of now, if you see, till March 2025, India has actually 658 registered products under GI tags, okay. So this is what this data is up until March 2025, that is previous month. Next one, which is the state that actually has the topmost number of GI tags? Uttar Pradesh, followed by Tamil Nadu. Okay, so apart from the Kanchipuram saris of Tamil Nadu, there are other products also. So what are the initiatives that are brought by the government in order to promote GI tags? First one, they have the GI fair, which is organized by this department for promotion. 1 minute. Okay, so here initiators is GI Fair. So this is organized by DPIIT. This is nothing but the Department for Promotion of Industries and Internal Trade. Okay. Yeah, so DPIIT, this actually conducts this GI fair, fair annually in order to promote the GI tag products for the domestic as well as the international buyers. Then you have the launch of GI store, where India's first GI store, it is actually there in the Goa International Airport. Next one, GI promotion or export promotion scheme, that is actually taken care of by the APIDA, that is Agriculture and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, which provides financial assistance to the exporters of GI tag products. Next one, also as per the IPR policy, the government actually has to give some financial assistance, okay, to the agencies who are there for promoting the GI products. Okay, so these are some of the initiatives brought about by India. Now, let's move to the next article. Very simple article. Let's quickly go through this. Here what happens, there are two reports, okay, that are actually that is the WEF report, as well as this is the WEF report, Future of Jobs report, and you have the QS Work Future Skills Index that has actually been released. It's talking about how ready is is our country in order to prepare our workforce for the future as per the global demands. Okay, so this is important for both the prelims, as WEF actually is very important, and the reports released by that is important. Next is for the mains examination under GS paper 3, Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development and employment. Now moving forward, there has been a previous year question in 2016 which asked about the global financial stability report is released by which of the following organizations. So the reports, the parameters that are used for calculating the rankings all becomes important, and which is the rank that India actually has, what are the trends, whether India has actually performed better or it has downgraded itself, all that becomes important. So the context here, India actually has the biggest demographic dividend, right? What do you mean by demographic dividend? Majority of the population of our country is actually in the working age, that is between 15 to 59 years. Okay, so India's demographic advantage and the expanding digital economy, when these both become integrated, what happens, this actually gives us a great potential for our economic growth. Okay, but are these people ready for the future? Are the workforce future ready is the question. Okay, so World Economic Forum has come out with the Future of the Jobs report and the QS World Future Skills Index, and this actually provides the insights on how has been the global trends, what are the skill demands by the global economies, and how it is, okay, in the market, how is the job market, and India's position in shaping a future ready workforce. This is what we will see. Let us quickly go through the key highlights of the report, that is Future of the Jobs report by the World Economic Forum. This actually says about the global labor market. It says that the global labor market is actually reshaped by, of course, technology. A lot of climate action has actually been taking place. A lot of economic shocks are taking place, okay? And the geopolitical tensions like the war, the volatility that is happening in the Middle East, etc. Next one, 60% of the employers, okay, that is people who give us jobs, 60% of the employers, they actually say technological change as well as the digital access are key job market drivers. So you need to know how to use technology and you have to be digitally sound is what the employers themselves say. And 50% of the employers actually believe that the economic factors like the job displacement will impact the industries. Also, the climate mitigation, okay, just as how India as well as other, the entire world is focusing on climate mitigation and adaptation, right? In that pursuit, there is a lot of jobs that are being created in the green sectors like renewable energy, etc. So, this is also demanding the business adaptation. Now, moving forward, the job outlook by 2030, how it is going to be by 2030, 170 million jobs will be created globally, and you will actually see 90 million jobs will be very obsolete or outdated. Next one, the skill forecast. If you see, 59 of 100 workers, they actually need retraining in areas. What are the areas? Like analytical thinking, then resilience, the tech literacy, etc. And now you can also add artificial intelligence over here. Okay, so they are actually saying artificial intelligence is going to replace jobs. No, the people who know how to use artificial intelligence are the ones who will replace you. So constant upgradation is actually required. Next one, there is high demand for AI engineers, big data analysts, as well as the data specialist, and also soft skills such as the EI, emotional intelligence and adaptability is important. Okay, so this is increasingly becoming important. So this is the future of jobs report 2025 by WEF. Next one, what does the QS World Future Skills Index actually say? So this has been come up with the QS, that is nothing but Quacquarelli Simmons. Okay, so this is the name, and here the observations include this. First of all, what is the report about? It evaluates the country level preparedness, how well a country is prepared for the future skills. That can also include green jobs, it can also include artificial intelligence as well as technology, innovation, etc. So it has said that it has actually given highlights on the performances of India. So it has said that India is second globally in preparedness for artificial intelligence and green skills. This is very interesting. And we have a score of around 99.1 in future of work. That is, we actually have the ability to identify and to recruit for the future skills. Next one, the score is only 59.1 in skill fit. That is, what is the ability of the workforce to meet the demands. Okay, so we are only 59.1 in it. Next, India ranks 26th in the academic readiness. Okay, but there are actually gaps in the institutional preparation, and we have extremely low score of 15.6 only in innovation as well as sustainability out of 100. Next one, India's low investment in research and development is a major drawback. This is what the QS World Future Skill Index is also talking about. Okay, so this is what. And the last article for today, we will be discussing about the 1997 Ethics Code, which initially formulated the need for the judges of the Supreme Court in order to declare their assets. Okay, and looking at that, let us actually see what have been the other conventions or the rulings of the Supreme Court in this regard. So here, ethics code of the judges 1997 becomes important. Of course, important for prelims and more important for your mains examination under GS paper 2, structure, organization and functioning of the executive and the judiciary. Now, let us move forward and see in 2015 there has been a mains question with respect to accountability. What does that mean in terms of public service? So, when we are actually analyzing why it is essential for the judges to declare their assets, we also have to compare it with the other public service, right? So, like the bureaucrats, that is the IAS, the IPS, the Indian Forest Service officers, whether it is mandatory for them to declare the assets or not, and they are governed by which rules is what we will discuss over here. Now, let's move forward. In the recent move by the Supreme Court, what happened? All the 31 judges of the Supreme Court, including the Chief Justice of India, decided to publicly declare their assets. Okay, so this is a good move in order to have the public trust and also to ensure that there is transparency and accountability. Okay, next one, the 1997 Ethics Code. So, this is also known as the restatement of values of judicial life. Restatement of values of judicial life. This was adopted in a full court meeting of the Supreme Court. Okay. So, this was there in order to serve as a moral compass for the judges, so that they actually uphold the institutional integrity as well as public trust. Okay. So, there shall not only be what I say, transparent delivery of justice, but also there has to be transparency and accountability in the conduct of the judges. They should not be corrupt, is what it means. This was not legally binding, okay, but it was just an authoritative guideline for the judicial conduct in India. And this mentioned that the judges should declare their assets at least in confidence to the Chief Justice of India, if not to the public, as a symbol of personal integrity and accountability. So, this is what the 1997 Ethics Code actually said. It had the following 16 ethical principles imbibed in it. First one, public confidence. That means avoid actions that actually erode the public trust in the judiciary. Next one, no political activity. That is, judges must not contest elections, of course, okay, or they must join the political clubs or associations. Next, they have to avoid socializing with the lawyers in the cases. So, there has to be no close association of the judges with the lawyers who are going to appear in a particular case. Next one, no appearance in own or related cases. That is, they must rescue them. So that is recuse, not rescue. They should recuse means they should excuse themselves from the cases involving the relatives or any kind of friends or close associates. Next one, judgments speak for themselves. So here they have to not give any kind. Have you ever seen a judge giving an interview to the press? No, because the judgments themselves should speak for it. Okay, so no media interviews or public commentary on the judgments that have been passed. Next one, no public political opinions. So they have to avoid expressing the views on the political parties. Okay, or the political issues. Next one, maintain dignity in the conduct. That is, you have to refrain from any kind of conduct unbecoming of the high judicial office. That is, not any kind of a mis or unethical conduct you should actually have. Now, moving forward, let us see the others. So, let me take you through. No gifts of hospitality. You cannot accept the gifts except from close family or friends. There has to be social aloofness. You need to maintain a higher degree of professional distance from the society because you are a judge. Okay, so you kind of run the country. Okay, that is what I would say. Next one, in terms of delivering justice. Next, no pressure or influence you can actually give to you should neither give it to a lawyer or the others, neither should they actually give it to you, vice versa. Obey the constitution and the law. Avoid any kind of financial impropriety. That is, you must not involve in any kind of business or financial dealings compromising the integrity. Next one, declare the assets to the Chief Justice of India. You already saw. Maintain secrecy in deliberation. That is, keep all the court discussions to yourself and confidential. Next one, uphold the collegiality. That is, you have to maintain a harmonious relationship with the fellow judges. Okay, that is what the collegium. And avoid conflict of interest. Okay, so you have to stay clear of the case or the matters, and it should not have any kind of a personal involvement. These are the 16 principles that the Code of Ethics of 1997 actually gave, and it also gave few of the other provisions. Okay, then what are the further developments that happened after that? There was this Bangalore Principles of Judicial Conduct 2002. So this actually also deals with the judicial values, and this asks the judges to ensure that their conduct both in and outside the court actually is maintained properly and enhances the confidence of public and the legal profession. Okay, in the impartiality of judge, basically it says don't be partial. You have to have your conduct both inside as well as the outside the court premises. Next one, In 2009, there was again a meeting that was held where the Supreme Court actually said that there should be voluntary disclosure of, the assets, and also this did not make it compulsory, but this actually was purely on a voluntary basis, so it did not last for long. Then, well, it said that it can also be published on the official website of the Supreme Court. Okay, this said, but it became inconsistent over time. And the recent thing is that in 2018, there was a constitution bench judgment that says that all the assets and liabilities of the judges they are not the personal information, and they are actually subjected to the Right to Information Act in order to serve the public interest. So these are all the number of frameworks that was actually governing the declaration of assets by the Supreme Court judges. If you compare that with the other public servants, this contrasts the obligations, because so far it is a voluntary basis for the judges of the Supreme Court and the CJI to declare their assets. However, it is compulsory according to the All India Services Conduct Rules of 1968, where the officers who are the IAS officers, the All India Service officers, that is the IAS, Indian Administrative Service, Police Service, as well as Forest Service, they are mandatorily required to declare their assets and liabilities every year. Okay, so this is the comparison. Now we are done with it. Let us quickly solve the mains practice question. The question asks, the militarization of space, once a distant threat, is now a pressing reality. Discuss the factors which are driving it and analyze its implication on the global peace and security. Okay, so here you have to start the militarization of space, what it refers to. That is use of outer space for military, military purposes, including you can actually, either it is a surveillance for the military purpose, or it's a communication that you provide, all that it actually includes. And the communication networks in order to enhance the security of the nation. This can be your introduction. And towards the body, you can talk about what are all the different factors. Okay, of course, technological advancements were there, and then there is a race that is actually happening among the the wealthier nations like the US, Russia, China, and then those are the geopolitical rivalries. And then we have the dependence on the space assets for our navigation purposes. Okay, we depend on the navic, we depend on the GLONASS, we depend on GPS, etc. And also there are emerging threats from our enemies. So these are all the factors that you will be discussing in the body of your answer. And towards the end of it, we will be discussing about the implications and the, on global peace and security. Of course, there is an arms race, and then there is new domain of conflict where space will be taken as the fourth domain apart from the land, air and water. And then there will be threat to the civilian assets, because the priority will be given to the military purposes. That is why it is going to compromise the other functions, as well as the space debris, as well as the environmental risks. This is what you will discuss. Moving forward, we need to say that there are urgent reforms that are involved in, that have to be taken in the space governance. That is why India is going to come up with the national, space framework or a policy. This is what you have to talk about. Now, moving forward, let's quickly solve the MCQs that were taken up yesterday. I had only discussed the topics. So with reference to the term limits and the executive tenure in the democratic countries, consider the following. Okay, so here the 22nd amendment to the US Constitution prohibits any person from being elected as the president more than twice. Yes, correct. Per term is of 4 years. So this is correct. So 4 plus 4, it's 8, not beyond that. Okay. So a person who has served as a US president for more than 2 years of someone else's term can still be elected twice. No. So this is what we saw as a loophole, right? No, you can't. Then the Indian Constitution imposes a limit of 2 terms of office of Prime Minister. No, there are no specific number of terms, because we saw Jawaharlal Nehru actually serving for 17 years. The current Prime Minister is actually, he has served 2 complete full years, right? 2 complete terms. So this is wrong. The 12th Amendment to the Constitution prevents a person ineligible to be president from becoming the vice president. Yes, this is also correct. So 2 and 3 are wrong. So this goes away, and this goes away. So your answer will be A. Now moving forward, the second question. With reference to India's foreign policy initiatives, consider the following. The Sagar vision focuses exclusively on promoting maritime trade within Indian subcontinent. It is not just maritime trade, it's also about maritime security, piracy, etc. Okay, so this is wrong. It's not exclusively on this. So the neighborhood first policy of India, it prioritizes development cooperation with India's immediate South Asian neighbors. Yes, this is correct. So since one is wrong, this is gone, this is gone, this is gone. Two is correct. So your answer will be option B. Now moving on to the last question. Consider the following geographical features. The Pamban Island, this is also called as the Rameshwaram Island, the Park Bay and the Gulf of Mannar. So you had the Tamil Nadu like this, and this is the India, this is India, and this you had, as Sri Lanka. Please bear me for my bad diagram. So here you had something called as the Rameshwaram Island or the Pamban Island, and here you have the Park Bay. Then you had the island, and then towards the south this is called your Gulf of Mannar, that actually separates your India and Sri Lanka. So north south order, of course, Park Bay is first, so this is 2 and this is 1 and this is 3. So 2, 1 and 3. So this is your option, your answer will be option B. Now next, we will look at the questions that we have prepared in order to assess your, listening capability to today's DNA class. The next one is on 1997 Restatement of Values of Judicial Life. This is nothing but it is the ethics code. Okay, so it is asking about when was it adopted, whether it is legally binding or not, whether it makes it a mandate for the judges to declare their assets or not. So you have to solve this on our website by visiting the website, the link of which is given down in the comment section. Okay, now moving forward, the next question about the Geographical Indication of Goods Act of 1999. It came in order to comply with the obligations of which of the following, whether it is the labor organization or the monetary fund or the UNCTAD or the WTO. So you know the answer, it's WTO. Now moving forward, the last question, which of the following organizations publishes the future of the jobs report? Now recently we saw, right, whether it is the QS or whether it is the IMF, it is the WEF or it is the ILO. Don't think just because it is future of the jobs, it can be ILO, it can be the WEF also. So this is how you need to memorize the reports and the indices that are published by different organizations. So with this, we've actually come to the end of our daily news analysis, and more such discussions as well as live updates. Please do like, share and subscribe to Narayana IAS Academy YouTube channel. Thank you, and we'll meet you again soon in another live session.